apply to, say, the state of Israel if they attack Iran and they need assistance, or any other country. Okay? This is what they're talking about when they say national defense. It includes other countries as well. Very disturbing, illegal, unconstitutional, unbelievable. So military or critical infrastructure assistance to any foreign nation, homeland security, stockpiling, space, and any directly related activity. Such term includes emergency preparedness activities conducted pursuant to Title VI of the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act, gives the section, and critical infrastructure protection and restoration. Guys, what do you think about that?
I think they're taking
Wow.
over every aspect of everything. That's what I think.
They're talking about foreign nations. They're talking about stockpiling. They're talking about control of space related anything, satellites, everything.
And it's such a well thought out, all encompassing plan.
Right.
They've obviously put some mental effort into this thing. And so you think, okay, in what disaster scenario do we hit this at? And then you remember that they've got peacetime,
Peacetime.
in
That's
there as
right.
well. So
A new way of life, essentially. Okay, now that's just the description of the definition of the term national defense as it is used throughout this order. Okay. K, offsets means compensation practices required as a condition of purchase in either government to government or commercial sales of defense articles and or defense services as defined by the Arms Export Control Act and the International Traffic in Arms Regulations. Why is it that the term offsets is talking about compensation practices required as a condition of purchase, either in government to government transactions or commercial sales of defense articles? What does this mean? This means that they're taking over any commercial institution that sells anything having to do with arms. Okay? That's what that means. He's talking about taking over gun shops and manufacturers and distributors, ammunition shops, manufacturers, distributors, sellers, uh, you name it. That's what they're talking about when they say offsets in this order. The next one is special priorities assistance. What does that mean? What are special priorities assistance? It means action by resource departments, all the departments named in this order, to assist with expediting deliveries, placing related, what is that, rated or related? I'm sorry, placing rated orders. I don't know if that's a typo or not, locating suppliers, resolving production or delivery conflicts between various rated orders. I guess that means rated in order of priority. Addressing problems that arise in the fulfillment of a rated order or other action authorized by a delegated agency, and determining the validity of rated orders. So that's what special priorities assistance means. In other words, it is the special priorities assistance is the service that the agency is going to provide to you in regard to your carrying out their orders. Okay, rated means, I guess, priority, since their orders are going to be taking priority over any business that a commercial or private business or industry might have. So they will be providing you special priorities assistance, or I guess you could say encouragement under military control. Okay. The next one, M, strategic and critical materials, means materials including energy that one would be needed to supply the military, industrial, and essential civilian needs of the United States during a national emergency, and 2, are not found or produced in the United States in sufficient quantities to meet such need or are vulnerable to the termination or reduction of the availability of the material. Now, we talked about this earlier. This is the meaning of their term strategic and critical materials. So what this is talking about is the is previously stated intentions to assure the acquisition of materials necessary to the national defense. So obviously, it's as it specifies here, it's talking about resources and materials also outside of the United States that are not manufactured here. So I'll read that again so that everybody understands it. Strategic and critical materials means materials including energy that, one, would be needed to supply the military, industrial, and essential civilian needs of the United States during a national emergency, and 2, are not found or produced in the United States in sufficient quantities to meet such need and are vulnerable to the termination or reduction of the availability of the material. So resources that belong to other people in other countries, okay? And if the said country that is the owner of these natural resources or other resources that we need that we don't have, this is what it was talking about previously when it said acquisition, okay? So we're talking about military force used to acquire these resources from people that it belongs to.
That's the old "What's our oil doing under your sand?"
Yeah,
Right.
I was going to say
Exactly.
that's old hat though. Now they're just saying, "Hey, it's part of our national defense, our national security."
Yeah.
Right. The next one, N, water resources, means all usable water from all sources within the jurisdiction of the United States that can be managed, controlled, and allocated to meet emergency requirements, except water resources does not include usable water that qualifies as food resources. Section 802, General. Except as otherwise provided in Section 802C of this order, the authorities vested in the President by title, so on and so on, are delegated to the head of each agency in carrying out the delegated authorities under the Act and this order by the Secretary of Labor in carrying out Part 6 of this order, and the Secretary of Treasury in exercising the functions assigned in the Executive Order 11858 as amended. Okay, so that's talking about uh, delegating presidential authority to these advisors and
These people are given a lot of power.
yeah, unbelievable power and discretion as well. So what does that do? What's the effect of that? When Hitler gave his henchmen authority, I guess executive authority to do whatever the hell they wanted and use their own
Mhm.
discretion, they became inhuman, essentially. They just so abused that authority, and that's what this is designed to do. It's a corrupting power. That's why there's so much emphasis placed on the fact that it is presidential authority. It's guaranteed to corrupt and to cause
Yeah.
all kinds of atrocities.
Certainly limited in the hands of a few.
Right, right. So B, the authorities that may be exercised and performed pursuant to Section 802 of this order shall include 1, the power to redelegate authorities and to authorize the successive redelegation of authorities to agencies, officers, and employees of the government, and 2, the power of subpoena under Section 705 of the Act, and it gives the specified section, with respect to authorities delegated in Parts 2, 3, and 702 of this order, and 2, the functions assigned to the Secretary of Treasury in Executive Order 11858 as amended, provided that the subpoena power referenced in subsections 1 and 2 shall be utilized only after the scope and purpose of the investigation, inspection, or inquiry to which the subpoena relates have been defined either by appropriate officer identified in Section 802 or this order by such other person or persons as the officer shall designate. So what this means is that nobody under this authority can be subpoenaed to testify in court or anywhere else, um, except uh, as authorized by the appropriate officer identified in Section 802 of this order. So